Hello, and welcome to another video that in no way does anything remarkable. In the previous episode, we overcame the longest of odds and lost to the Mets in the wildcard game. I'm rather angry about this. I'm thinking about burning down the stadium. Well, never mind. We left off at the start of the offseason in 2020, and as you can see here, the Dodgers ended up with 109 wins and still managed to lose the World Series. Despite having to deal with that juggernaut in the division, the Rockies did pretty well in all non-base running stats. I love aggressive base running, but unless I plan to completely overhaul my roster, I'm going to live with relatively poor base running for the time being. First thing, personnel again. This time, however, there are changes to the MLB staff. Former Rocky Joe Girardi is signed as the bench coach, and John Hall and Lamar Rogers are promoted to pitching coach and hitting coach respectively. My reputation is rising, and I am no longer considered to be a piece of dog shit general manager. As before, my arbitration eligible players are given offers around the estimates. No big contract extensions this time. I did submit John Gray a qualifying offer, a 1-year $15 million contract, which isn't quite consistent with real life, but he rejected it anyway, and we received a first-round draft pick at his place. I made a trade with the Mets. Yes, those Mets. Tony Walters, Tukey, and a minor leaguer for Trevor Rosenthal, with the Mets retaining 20% and 2 minor leaguers. So I ended up with Trevor Rosenthal after all. I honestly just wanted the prospects. I added Dom Nunez, Brett Boswell, Carlos Jr. Herrera, and Max George to the 40-man roster, while releasing Scott Oberg and DFAing Jesus Tinoco and Brian Servin. Fun note, I actually met Scott Oberg's cousin the other day. As the awards are announced, we find out that Nolan Arenado has finally been named MVP. Next, the Hall of Fame. I make another trade with the Astros, sending Brett Boswell for Garrett Stubbs, who I desperately need at catcher, and 3 minor leaguers. I think this will be a good trade down the road. We hit the free agency period, and here are some of the available talent we have to choose from. My number one priority, signing DJ LeMahieu. I offer a deal worth $36 million over 3 years, which he accepts. Hey, Jeff Bridich, take some fucking notes. To make room, I DFA Philip Deal.
No deal! No deal!
For some reason, he is claimed off waivers and is no longer a part of the organization. Pretty sure I can live with that. I also DFA Noel Cuevas to make room for the Rule 5 draft, which I used to draft Tristan Gray. He seems like a very well-rounded player, and I'm willing to give him a shot. In kind, we lost a player in the Rule 5 draft that I seriously debated putting on the 40-man roster. Didn't make the right call here. Here we have probably the most insignificant trade I've ever made on this game. No players of note, just minor leaguers. We enter spring training, and Tommy Kahnle is out for 2 months. That's okay, he's just our closer. It's only like 40 and...
All right, I gotta leave, okay?
John, we just started. Come on, man.
Listen, there's a lot to see in this life. Not wasting it here.
At times, we have to eat salary, and in this case I had to DFA Kenley Jansen, who was eventually released. That was a poor investment on my part. Rockies fans should be furious I would pay a terrible pitcher so much money. Very unlike previous history. We make it to opening day. After many demotions, this is the major league roster I'm left with. You may have noticed I didn't make as many moves as the previous episode. I have my core now, and I'm looking to improve around it at this point. We're going for it all this year. As always, I played the first game of the season. This was the lineup I went with. Not a great day for the team, but the pitching was used efficiently, which is the main goal. We fall to the Cubs 4-3, and they finally get their revenge for the 2018 wildcard game. Except this is 1 out of 162 games, and not a sudden death playoff game.
Oh, snap.
Peter Lambert is injured and will be out for 8 weeks. Ryan Castellani is called up to replace him, and here are my pitching assignments. We enter May with a 17-10 record, a .630 win percentage, and are currently first in the division. Good start, let's keep it going. Here are my pitching stats, which are not necessarily indicative of a winning ball club, and here are my batting stats, where you may notice that 2 of my most expensive players are in slumps. Not really sure how we've won any games at this point. I've decided Trevor Rosenthal wasn't worth all of the trouble after all, and trade him and Peter Solomon to the Blue Jays for rental Garrett Cole. I send down Jared Miller and call up Reed Humphreys and Pedro Fernandez. Here are my pitching assignments, as well as my lineups. Carlos Correa hurts himself and is out for 6 weeks. Colton Welker is called up to replace him on the roster. Here is my new lineup. Tommy Kahnle is sent on a rehab assignment, and that's the end of May. We entered June with a 36-19 record, a .655 win percentage, and are still in first place in the division. It's early, but we may actually win the division if the other teams are as weak as they seem to be currently. Here are my pitching stats, as well as my batting stats. I make a trade with the Cubs again and send Tyler Wade, Jason Hayward, and a minor leaguer for Marcus Stroman and a minor leaguer. I don't really need Marcus Stroman, but I wanted Jason Hayward and Tyler Wade to go away, and this was the best option I had to make that happen. I send down Marshall Kozlowski and call up Jamie Westbrook and Jonathan Dawson. Here are my new pitching assignments, as well as my lineup. We entered the draft, and though we lost a third-round draft pick due to free agency pickups, we gained a first-round pick because of John Gray. No really insane signing bonuses were offered this season. Tommy Kahnle's rehab time is up, and to make room, I send down Justin Lawrence. Here are my new pitching assignments. It's also time to send Carlos Correa on a rehab assignment. What a shame, they just missed each other. But not to worry, because Peter Lambert is also in need of a rehab. Have fun! I accept a trade from the Marlins, sending 2 minor leaguers for Drew Steckenrider. Not really sure why I accepted it, but meh. To make room, I sent down DJ Johnson. Here are my new pitching assignments. We entered July with not as great a record, going 47-36 on the season to date, equating to a .566 win percentage and second in the division. Maybe I shouldn't have made all those trades. Here are my pitching stats, as well as my batting stats. I send down Jamie Westbrook and John Duplantier and bring up Carlos Correa and Peter Lambert from their rehab assignments. These are my new pitching assignments, as well as my lineup. Mid-season goals time. Owner still doesn't really know what he wants out of me. I was getting quite upset with the offense of this team as of late. Several noticeable slumps finally added up in my mind, and I fired Lamar Rogers as hitting coach and promoted Dave Magadan, who incidentally was the hitting coach for Colorado last season, but was re-signed to AAA instead. Probably should have just kept him as the hitting coach from the start. Ryan Castellani is out for 8 weeks, and I call up Justin Lawrence in his place. Here are my new pitching assignments. Tomoyuki Funaki is turning out to be a very poor investment as he's hurt yet again, this time for 5 months. I call up DJ Johnson in his place. These are my new pitching assignments. And now Tommy Kahnle is suspended. That's it, I need some fucking pitching. I make a trade with the Indians, sending a minor leaguer for Jake Diekman and a minor leaguer. Diekman is struggling a bit, but I've had good luck with him in other runs, so I'm willing to take a leaf here. To make room, I send down DJ Johnson. Here are my new pitching assignments. We reached the trade deadline, and my inbox has been crammed with offers. Once again, I accept none of them and make my own trade with the Brewers, sending Ryan McMahon, Peter Lambert, and a minor leaguer for Freddie Peralta, with them retaining 50% and a minor leaguer. Some of you may be wondering why I would trade away arguably one of my most consistent players. At this point, Tristan Gray has been doing exceptional work and is being blocked at first base. In addition, Roberto Ramos has been doing exceptional in the minors, and I believe he deserves a shot. So at this point, McMahon was more valuable to me in a trade than as a player, given the depth I currently have at the position. The aforementioned Roberto Ramos and Marshall Kozlowski are called up, and Pedro Fernandez is sent down. These are my new pitching assignments, as well as my lineup. We enter August with a 62-45 record, good for a .579 win percentage, and first in the division. Again, I will forego my ritual day after trade deadline gameplay. These are my pitching stats, as well as my batting stats. Ryan Castellani is sent on a rehab assignment where he will remain through the month. That's August. We enter September with a 75-59 record, a .560 win percentage, a bit of a drop-off, but still first in the division. Chances are high that we will finally win our first divisional crown. Here are our pitching stats, as well as our batting stats. I call up Ryan Castellani, John Duplantier, and anyone else I felt could help. These are my pitching assignments, as well as my lineup. As we sim through September, it becomes clear that the San Diego Padres aren't going away. In fact, I began to wonder if we would even win the division towards the end of the season, but somehow we managed to tie. We end the regular season with an 89-73 record, a .549 win percentage, and tied for first place with the Padres. I guess the season needs one more game, and so we enter the tiebreaker. It was a great pitching game nearly all game long. Nolan Arenado hit this magnificent home run in the first inning, grabbing the lead for the Rockies early. The game remained close through the next several innings until the bottom of the 8th. San Diego and Colorado are tied at 3 apiece with 2 out. Nolan Arenado gets to second base on an errant throw to first. I put in Sam Hilliard, who hasn't done particularly well as a pinch hitter, but I felt was due. Man, oh man, was I right. Very first pitch he sees goes over the wall in right center, and the Rockies take a 5-3 lead, which later became the final score. Just in case there were any disagreements over this result, I want to be emphatic. Sam Hilliard touched home plate.
The throw to the plate, he is safe.
Unfortunately, this game did cost us something we really need. David Dahl is out for the duration of the playoffs, and that could really bite us in the ass. Thankfully, Jonathan Dawes has been pretty good this season, and he may be a fine replacement for the oft-injured Dahl. Something to think about in the offseason. This is the playoff roster I'm going with. These are my pitching assignments, of note, a 4-man rotation, and these are my lineups. We sim through the playoffs and wipe out the Cubs in 4 games, and then proceed to beat the Braves in 6. We find ourselves in the World Series against the Angels, and it's time we finally win it all. Just to be upfront, it is fairly easy to cheat at this game, but I'm not doing that for you. If I was cheating, there is no goddamn way I would have lost to the Mets in the last season. We made it here somehow, and now it's time to see if we're going to finally win it all. Here we go. I'm going to Disney World! The Rockies finally win a ring and best the Angels in 6 games. This automatically makes me the best GM in Rockies history. I swear to God, if the owner is still not happy with me, I'm fucking out of here. Unfortunately, our celebration is short-lived because both Nolan Arenado and Robbie Ray have opted out of their contracts. Not really concerned about Robbie Ray all that much, but Nolan is going to be expensive to retain at this point, and I'm not yet sure if I'm going to pursue him. At least the owner's finally happy. Good. And we're getting a lot of money. Oh, and my contract was extended. Dude, I just won the World Series. What the fuck did you think was gonna happen? You can't get rid of me. That's it. That's 2021. Tune in next time for the exciting conclusion of the next episode. I actually don't know if there will be an exciting conclusion. It may all be downhill from here.